All right. Please join me.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you, Rotarians, for joining us for today's meeting. And now we're going to have an invocation by Molly Shadow.
Hello, everyone. As we prepare to celebrate our country's 244th birthday this weekend, I am using I think it's the 4th verse of the Star Spangled Banner, which is my favorite verse of the Star Spangled Banner, as our prayer today. So let's pray. Oh, thus be it ever, when freemen shall stand between their loved home and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us a nation. Then conquer we must, when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen.
Thank you, Molly. Bob, any guests or visiting Rotarians? I know you mentioned a couple already.
Yeah, we have Mark Zimmerman. We have Duncan Cameron. Maybe you would like to introduce, there's some lovely Mayeskis with us.
Yeah, my wife and 2 daughters are on the call to see my last Zoom presentation.
Happy day.
That's right. Somebody told me the best position in Rotary is former president. So.
Amen.
Any happy, sad dollars? Anybody would like to talk to the club about something going on in your life that you'd like to make us aware of?
Sure, this is Jeff Dismer. I've got a happy dollar to report. My son Marshall and his wife Allie had their first baby.
Good. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I love Beverly. Everybody's happy and healthy.
Very good. Good.
Thank you, Jeff.
First time grandparents too.
Well, that's even better.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Yeah, those were great pictures on Facebook, Jeff.
Next,
Anybody else?
62 years of marriage to Diane.
Anybody? Okay. Angela, I didn't know if you wanted to say a few words before your first meeting next week.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me say a few words. I don't really have anything. You'll get to hear from me next week. Hopefully I'll have something intelligible to say. So you did a great job, Mark, and it's been an honor serving as your president-elect.
Thank you
Mr. President?
Yes,
Mr. President?
Yes,
thank you. I don't know if it was audible. I've got my earbuds in so I could hear, and they're appropriately named earbuds because I think I heard Dr. Bud Phyllis noting his anniversary to his lovely bride. Oh. And if I heard correctly, it's 62 years. Is that right, Dr. Phyllis?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, bud.
Congratulations, Dr. Phyllis.
And this is John Wetzel. Marcia and I celebrated 51 years, and as tradition for the past several years, I will be getting a check for $51 to the Rock Island Rotary Foundation.
Good.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
President Mark, just as a follow-up on our book challenge, we've had 21 different people, Rotarians, have offered their top 10 book list. So that exceeds my 20 goal of 20. So I'm going to be sending a donation for $200 to our Rock Island Rotary Foundation. If any of you still like to do it, by all means, we're going to publish all of them in a future newsletter.
Is there any surprises in those book lists, Tom?
Oh, it's amazing. We have a very well-read, eclectic bunch of Rotarians. The books, the number of books is astronomical, and there's not a lot of commonality on the top 10 list. But we'll we'll try to figure out, make some sense out of all the different books that were and the type of books they are. But really interesting. We have a lot of readers in this club.
Super. Thank you, Tom, for doing that for us. Anybody else like to bring anything up to the club? All right. One thing I know we're talking a little bit about, and Angela's going to have probably more information on this in the weeks to come, is there is a little bit of movement in terms of possibly us going to meetings down the road. I know Bob's been in touch with the Botanical Center. We don't have anything concrete to share with you right now, but we're hoping in the near future we might be able to do some kind of meetings as opposed to the Zoom meetings. So. And with that, we are going to, I guess, start today's program. So this is my final meeting as president. And what I thought I would do is kind of stroll down memory lane with a slideshow. I know past presidents have done this, and I always thought it was neat to look back on what we accomplished over the last year. So I'm going to try to share my screen, and I hope this works. So can you see the Rotary Club of Rock Island emblem?
No.
Not yet.
Okay. How about now?
Nope.
Nope.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, now you can see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I know Bob and I tried the technology out last week, so I guess there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll try to pause in between each slide. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you to all the members of the club. I mean, this was such a great experience for me over the last year to work with all of you and learn more about what Rotary is about, and just really had a great time this year. It was very challenging, which we'll talk about, and hopefully we'll have some laughs as well. So July 9th of last year was actually my first meeting as president, and we talked about some real basic goals as a club. Really, we wanted to just keep doing what we were doing. We've been recognized as a club as one of the better clubs out there, to be honest with you. But I also wanted to improve on creating fellowship with all of our new members and our corporate members. And little did we know then, you know, by the end of this year, how important creating fellowship would be with everything we're dealing with right now with the virus. So this is our dream team for 2019-2020. Vice President Angela Campbell and Second Vice President Justin Peterson. I want to thank both of them for their support during this year. Again, it was a very challenging year, and I couldn't have done it without them. So we started the year out by making our second installment payment on the Spring Forward Learning Center van. Sue Cassatt and I had started this project during her presidential year, so it was just very rewarding to be able to provide this for Dan McNeil and his organization. And of course, we get some pretty neat publicity as well. We continued our Rotary Night at the Ballpark. Sadly, I don't know if they're going to have that this year or not. But Bob, I will point out that I did throw a perfect strike. And my daughter, Madeline, actually was there and filmed it. And it was very hot that day. We were not able to stay for the whole game. I thought I was going to melt. It was so hot. But I appreciate all the Rotarians that came out for that. It was pretty neat. I've never thrown out a first pitch before, so thank you for that opportunity. So we also continued our Labor Day parade, having a float there. And you can see here some of the Rotarians that showed up for that Labor Day parade. Again, I think they've canceled that for this year. I could be wrong. So hopefully we'll be able to continue that tradition in the future. Another tradition that kind of came to an end is I think I'm the last president that gets the opportunity to ride in Bud's sports car, as I think he's finally retiring that, and maybe he's already sold it, I'm not sure. But that was quite the experience to ride in that car. So thanks to Bud for all the years that he's provided that to Rotary during the Labor Day parade. We had lots of Rotarians. We had our exchange son, Emil, and Jeff Dismer had a great time, and they had a pretty cool car there as well. I'm sure we might be able to use that one in the future, Jeff, if we have to. So thanks to everybody who came to the Labor Day parade. We continued our partnership with Earl Hansen School. Here, Molly Shattuck and Tom Hammer are meeting with some of the teachers at Earl Hansen to talk about different partnership opportunities. So we're very excited that we continue that great partnership with the elementary school here in Rock Island. And again, thanks for Molly and Tom for really heading that up. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here later in the presentation. So this is at the career day, I believe, at Augustana College. You can see Sue Rector, John Oliger, and Kai Swanson. And they were there to recruit for our newly regenerated, I guess we should say, Rotaract Club for college students at Augustana to kind of get exposed to Rotary, and that's our Rotaract program. And these were our first students that joined up. Now, as the year went on, we got more students to volunteer wanting to be part of this. And they were really just getting going when everything kind of shut down. So we're hoping, you know, in the fall to start that program back up again. And hopefully we can get some of those students to rejoin for the upcoming school year. We continued our Pumpkin Palooza tradition with Earl Hansen. And I do want to thank all the sponsors that made this possible for the kids to show up and just have a great time. And we've been told by a lot of the teachers that these kids love these t-shirts and they wear them year round. And so we had a great time. You can see here, Ann McGlynn and Angela Campbell helped out. It was a little wet, but appreciate everybody who showed up that day. My wife even showed up and had a great time. And Jim Moran found a great pumpkin. I'm not sure if he gave that to a child or if he kept that himself, but he seemed pretty fascinated with that pumpkin that he got. So thanks, Jim, for helping out with that as well. So in October, Mayor Tomes made a proclamation for World Polio Day. And Angela Campbell, our vice president, was there to accept that. So that was pretty exciting. We got some good publicity for World Polio Day in October. So thanks to both of our members for making that happen. We continue to have great efforts with our donation to Rotary Foundation. In fact, we were the second highest giving club in the district. And I can't thank Bud Phyllis enough for all the hard work that he does with the foundation. And thanks to all the members who continue to give towards the International Foundation. So we have a district grant program, and what that is we're able to donate $1,500, and then the district donates $1,500 to an organization or a nonprofit. And this year we bought an early literacy station for the Rock Island Public Library. So you can see the station right there that we were able to purchase for the library. and I'm sure they're going to get lots of use out of that station. So we continue to have lots of great programs. You know, this program was on the census. It was pretty fun. Here's a program Bud Phyllis helped present. And then there's this. So this is the Birdie Man, as he's been dubbed. Kevin Koski, of course, heads up our Birdies for Charity program that we work in conjunction with John Deere. And he does just an amazing job. In fact, last summer, we were able to give $5,959 because of the effort. We got a match from John Deere, or a contribution, I should say. And I know that the results this summer are just as good. So, I mean, Kevin, I can't thank you enough for all that you do for the Birdies for Charity program. And one other thing while we're on Kevin Koski, he was also honored April 30th. And this is no joke, it was Kevin Koski Day. So he does a lot of good for other organizations as well. And we're lucky to have Kevin as a member of our Rotary Club. We continue to attract new members. Here, Dr. Reginald Lawrence from Rock Island Milan School District was inducted as a new member. Of course, it became a little more difficult to attract new members once we were all on shutdown, but I know the new vice president is going to make a big push for that once we get back to normal. So we continued our yearly holiday party at Circa 21. We saw Elf the musical, and Bob Swanson, I want to thank you for organizing that, and Kim Calhoun for your work on that as well. We always have a great time. Here's the turnout we had, which we had a very good turnout. And we had a real good time that night. Great fellowship. I'd encourage any new members that haven't gone to that in the past to take some time and get to know other Rotarians when we have that, hopefully again, this holiday season. I think that same weekend, we also had our bell ringing. Here we have Sue and Sue Cassatt and Sue Rector. And this is always one of our more popular programs. And it's great that we've been able to do this on a continued basis. And here we have Jay and Lo ringing the bell as well. Lo always has that same hat that dances. So that's kind of become a tradition with the Salvation Army bell ringing as well. So I want to talk a little bit about our first and our biggest fundraiser, which is Trivia Night. We had just an amazing year. We actually exceeded our budget by $3,000, which that means we were able to give even more money to organizations, nonprofits in the community. I think total, we were able to give maybe $7,000 or $8,000 because of this fundraiser. Just an amazing program. Our table, we didn't win, but we sure had fun. Here you can see Bob and Kathy Lalonic. We had a great time. And then we had a lot of people that served as sponsors. Nancy Lukenbill, widow of Fred Lukenbill, was a gold sponsor. And of course, on the right there is Bobby Burke, our district governor. So it was an amazing event. And I can't thank Kathy Trone enough for being the chair of that and all the people that helped her out. There was a lot of volunteers that made that event possible. And I know this year is going to be even bigger, but thanks to everybody for that. It really allowed the club to do a lot of good in the community. We continue to have Rotarians talk about things in their life. We call it the Rotarian Spotlight. And hopefully we're going to continue that this year. It was great to learn more about Rotarians and things going on in their personal life or their professional life. So one of the projects our club is very proud of is the water project. It's the Western Illinois, Eastern Iowa Water Project. And Bud Phyllis and Bob Swanson really kind of head this up. And so we've bought a lot of these water filters for areas in need. And at one point in the year, we had a very big donation that was made to this program. Of course, Sam Ray died in March of 2019, but his wife Hildy donated $20,000 to this project in his name. So it was just amazing how many water filters we were able to buy with this. And we couldn't thank Hildy enough. And I thought it was very important that we recognize her again and the great donation she made to this project. The Rotary Reindeer Ramble. So we kind of changed this year. This was our second fundraiser. We had this, we moved it back to December. And we had better results in terms of the amount of money we were able to raise. I do want to say thank you to all the volunteers, but also especially to Dick and Mary Fissler, who made this possible. And they've agreed to kind of stay on this year, I believe, as not professionals, but experts in how to make these races even more successful. And we exceeded our budget on this program as well. So again, it allowed the club to give even more money to different nonprofits in the community. So thanks to everybody involved. I have to show a couple action shots with this. There's Kathy Trone in her reindeer outfit. Pete Wessels was dragged to the finish line, I think, by his fellow companion. And we had a record turnout in terms of the amount of runners. We also had just great weather that day also. And again, I have to thank all of the sponsors who gave money towards this program. And this was at the end of the race, everybody at the awards ceremony. Again, everybody said it was just a great race and they definitely want to run it again this year. So thank you for everybody that made that happen. Frank Lambert. So why is Frank Lambert up here? We need to talk a little bit about the community grants program. So the community grants program is where we give small to medium-sized grants to different nonprofits in the community. And those fundraisers that we talked about is what kind of fuels that and allows us to do that. So I'm not gonna recognize all of the grants we gave this year because we gave a lot, but want to recognize some of them. We gave $500 to the First Tee program. We gave $400 to the Rock Island Library. $700 to Dress for Success. And we gave $700 to 180. Those are just some of the examples of some organizations that the community grants program gave money to in the community. We did have one of our members pass away this year, Bill Green, who had been in our club for 38 years. The one thing that was really, I guess, an eye-opener to me on how important Rotary is to all of us, hopefully, is at the visitation, how many Rotarians came to pay their respects. And I think it was just a testament, not just to Bill, but also to Rotarians in general and how they lean on each other and support each other. So he will be missed for sure. We continued to recognize many Paul Harris Fellows. Of course, I don't have time to name everybody, but I put one up here that was especially big, and that was Paul Harris Fellow +7 for Larry Tadlock, meaning he had donated over $7,000 in his lifetime to the Rotary Foundation. So pretty impressive, but we have lots of impressive Paul Harris Fellows on the call as well. So thank you to everybody who continues to give to the International Foundation. Tom Hammer continued the, I guess, chess program It's the 11th year that he has set this up with Earl Hansen, and it's really exciting. They have a tournament. Tom has a trophy, and Tom said he actually almost got beat this year for the first year by the champion. But again, this is such a fun way for us to keep in touch with Earl Hansen and all the important things that they're doing there at the school. So Tom, thanks so much for all you do with that chess program. It's a lot of fun. And then everything kind of stopped with the virus. It was uncharted territory for all of us. Of course, the club had to start canceling meetings. And this is where, luckily, our board had put in certain things before all this happened where we could take certain votes by email. And that's kind of how we had to conduct business up until now, actually, whenever we needed to vote on something. So you can see here, of course, at that point, we only thought we were going to have to cancel meetings for about 3 weeks. And then it just kind of kept going and going and going, and we're still not sure when we're going to have actual meetings again. And again, it continued as, you know, President Trump extended the guidelines and local governments continued their guidelines as well. So we said, well, we can't just not have meetings. We had a lot of members that said, we want to have meetings. So we had our first Zoom call April 14th. And some of our first adopters, you're on the screen. And it actually went on without a hitch. And the crowds grew bigger and bigger. Hopefully today we had our biggest crowd, but we were regularly having 30 to 40 people on our Zoom calls. And we continued with our humor. We had lots of good jokes. In fact, I think the district commented that a lot of other clubs were going to start doing their Rotarian humor as well, because they just felt it was a good way to create some fun and positivity with everything going on. So then I decided, well, since I can't get my hair cut, I might as well let my daughters cut my hair. So they dyed my hair pink. And so Bob Swanson thought he would have some fun with that, especially after I shaved my head. I shaved it a couple days later because I was getting strange looks in the grocery store. And so this is what Bob put in. This is his picture of me next to Curly from the Three Stooges. And unfortunately, there's a resemblance there. So I don't think I'm ever going to shave my head again, that's for sure. So we had a lot of members who really stepped up and helped in different ways. Here, Trish Barron is making masks. She offered to make masks for any Rotarians. I took her up on that, actually. Here's the mask she made for me. And I'm sure she would make masks for anybody else that might want one or didn't get one from her. But Trish, thanks for really leading by example and helping us out with that. John Wetzel, even though we didn't have an awards ceremony, was still able to continue with the Burt Blood Scholarship Program. We gave over $4,750 in scholarships as part of this program. You can see the individuals here. So I want to personally thank John for getting that done and all the uncertainty we had in the club and the world when this was going on. And hopefully that money will carry over to next year if it didn't get spent this year for those students. Talk a little bit about our exchange son, Emil, from Finland. Of course, he really endeared himself to the club, and we really enjoyed, especially hearing how he and Kevin Koski would go back and forth on different things about Finland. He actually did a presentation with fellow Finn Kevin Koski here on the Civil War. But he was a great kid, and it was really sad that he had to go home early. So this was from the newsletter when he went home early. He did make it home safely, of course, and then gave us a great presentation I believe a couple weeks ago on his trip home and his experience here in America. Unfortunately, the youth exchange program is kind of put on hold for this year, but hopefully we'll be able to continue that in the coming years. So we just had a great time with the meal. So with everything that happened, we had to cancel a lot of meetings, which means we didn't have expenses that we normally would have. So although we put some of that money in the bank for a rainy day, not knowing what the future will hold, the board decided to put a lot of that money back into the community. So for example, here we're giving $500 to KSI. We gave $1,000 to Friendship Manor. And then we gave $500 here to Heart of Hope Food Pantry. And we gave another $500 to the Rock Island County Children's Advocacy Center. So in all of those, I'm socially distancing, although I guess I should have been wearing a mask too, but I did my best. Kathy Trone also set up donations for 180. So again, another example of how Rotarians really step up and help those in need when things are happening. And then there's Ruth. We couldn't have a presentation without talking about Ruth and the wine raffle, especially that great wine costume that she wore on different occasions. There's the front and the back if you weren't there at a meeting and saw Ruth with that. And at the end of the fundraising period, Ruth still managed to carry out the drawing with social distancing. And of course, this fundraiser was very successful, which is even more amazing because almost a good majority of it was when we weren't even having meetings. In fact, we raised so much money from the wine raffle, we were able to give a $2,500 donation to the Heart of Hope Food Pantry in Rock Island. The board and Ruth and the wine team, also headed up by Ann McGlynn, felt like we should give one big donation to one organization. And since we've partnered with Heart of Hope prior, we thought this would be a great organization to give to. So thank you, Ruth and Ann, for all that you did with that. And we didn't have the award ceremony, but the board felt it was important to still recognize people that were doing good in the club and in the community. So the whole club voted on some of our Service Above Self awards. And so want to recognize Bob Swanson for the Luke and Bill Ray Award, and then Carrie Crossan and myself for the A.T. Piero Award. So I can say personally, I was very humbled, and I really appreciate the nice things that people said. And I know Carrie and Bob would say the same. I want to make special thanks though to all of the people that helped me. I couldn't have done it without all the people on the board and in leadership. Angela Campbell, Justin Peterson, Ann McGlynn is our secretary. Carrie Crossan is just an amazing treasurer and does so much good for the club. I don't think we realize how much money flows in and out of our accounts, and she does a great job keeping track of that. Sue Cassat, for all the leadership that she provided to me and answered questions and gave me some input on her experience as a past president. And then all of our directors on the board, Rick Emery, Kathy Lalonic, John Oliger, Bill Stengel, Howard Beck, Cindy Gramens, Carla's no longer with us, Eric and Bob Swanson, and Cindy Gramens as the co-sergeant at arms. And then we got some help as well from Ruth, Lowe, Tom, and Jim. So I want to thank all of them for all the help that they gave over the year. And there's their pictures right there of our board. So hopefully, if you're a newer Rotarian, you'll consider joining the board in future years. And so now we turn everything over to a new leader. This is Angela at the PETS convention, where incoming presidents learn about what they need to do as president. I've worked with her now over 2 years, and I can say that she's going to do an amazing job. And I think we should be excited as a club to have Angela as our president. So with that, that is my presentation. I just wanted to kind of remember all the good things and the fun things that we went through this year and recognize people that helped me. It was very rewarding experience for me. And would I do it again? Not anytime soon, but maybe down the road. So I guess I will open it up if anybody has any final questions about the 2019-2020 Rotary year or anything they would like to add.
Well, Mark, this is Bob Swanson. I will say that the tradition has always been at the president's final meeting, there's a standing ovation. And I don't know that we can really do that in our present situation, but let's all think about standing as if we were, and a round of applause for our president.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate that. I couldn't have done it without all of you. So, any other comments? Any other questions?
I have a question, Mark. So what was the one thing that you least expected when taking over the presidency, or that you thought you weren't prepared for?
Zoom meetings. So at first it was very daunting. I think all of us, I was a little hesitant to start Zoom meetings. And the first couple were a lot of work because we were so uncertain of the technology. But Bob did such a great job walking us through it that really it became very easy. You know, I told a lot of members that the Zoom meetings were a lot more work than a regular meeting. And that was true in the beginning. But as we got, you know, halfway through the Zoom period, I guess, it became a lot easier. But that was the biggest challenge. You know, the only thing I would say, Cindy, because I know you're going to be a future president, is, you know, we have so many Rotarians that have presidential experience that I relied on. And I just didn't try to recreate the wheel. It was so helpful to have past presidents really share their expertise and made that a lot simpler. Any other questions?
Will we keep Zoom meetings partially when we start going back to our regular meetings?
I know Bob and Angela have talked a little bit about that and some of the challenges technology-wise that might create. So I don't think a decision has been made on that officially yet, but with the new board that will start next month, I'm sure that's something that they're going to be discussing. So no answer as of yet.
Mark?
Yes?
It's Ruth. You'll have to maybe listen to a little piano music in the background as Owen plays. But I just want to extend my personal thanks and appreciation for your leadership. I know, you know, when we've had a disagreement about something, we've always been able to talk about it and work through it. And not that there have been huge ones, but I do appreciate how open you've been and how really easy to work with. So thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that.
Hey,
Anybody
Mark.
else? Yes.
Yeah, I've got one, Mark. So
Yes,
as you look back on your Rotary year, what would you look back on and say, you know, I was really the most proud of this one thing?
You know, maybe it's because I'm a financial guy, but I was very proud of our fundraisers that we were able to exceed our budgets pretty substantially in all three fundraisers, primarily because you know, again, that allowed us to do so much more in the community. So I think I was proudest of that, but I can't take necessarily credit for that. I just recognized who would be the best for those fundraisers to be chairs and put those people in those positions. So. Any other questions?
President Mark, I just, on behalf of the whole club, just thanks a lot for a great year, and you led us well. And I'm just curious what you're going to do with all your newfound spare time. And maybe Kim wants to weigh in on that question.
I don't know about you, Tom, or other Rotarians, but we've been doing a lot of remodeling and painting in the house. So I have a feeling that's what a lot of our extra time is going to be done with, is a lot of painting and landscaping, probably. I might have to start reading books again. I don't know.
There you go. We'll give some choices then.
All right. Any other questions? Anybody else have anything else to add? Well, again, I want to thank everybody one last time. It's been a great experience. And I can't wait till we can all get back together again in person, so I can thank a lot of you in person individually. And with that, we're going to adjourn. So if you could please join with me as we recite the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it
fair to all concerned? Will it build better friendships?
Win better friendships.
Beneficial to all concerned.
And will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Here, everybody.
All right.